What would you do if a group of people tried to destroy your life, humiliate you, and strip away everything you worked hard for, only to later find out you held the power to turn their entire world upside down? This isn't just a story about fines or rules. It's about pride, betrayal, and the sweet twist of fate that nobody saw coming. When I first moved into the neighborhood, I thought it would be a fresh start. My wife, Emily, and I had worked our whole lives to save enough for a piece of land where our children could grow up free, safe, and surrounded by nature. The land I bought wasn't just any lot, it was a piece of property handed down in whispers through my late father's will, land he said would secure our future. At first, everything seemed peaceful. The houses looked perfect, the lawns trimmed, the fences white as snow. But underneath that picture-perfect surface lurked something I hadn't expected: the homeowners association. They weren't neighbors, not really. They were enforcers, people who believed they had the power to dictate every inch of your property, every detail of your life. The trouble began the moment I started renovating the small farmhouse on the land. One morning, I found a letter taped to my door. In bold red letters, it read, "Violation Notice." I laughed at first, thinking it was a mistake. But as I read, my chest tightened. They claimed my paint color did not meet community standards. Another letter came a week later, this time citing my improperly placed trash bins. Soon, they were piling up, one violation after another. Then came the bombshell, a certified letter demanding $250,000 in fines. I stared at the number, my hands trembling. Emily gasped when she saw it. That fine was more than our life savings, more than we had ever owned. "This isn't possible," I muttered. "This is our land. They can't do this." But the HOA president, a smug woman named Karen Whitfield, made sure I knew they could. She showed up on my porch one evening, a clipboard in hand, her smile sharp as a knife. "Mr. Dawson," she said sweetly, "rules are rules. If you can't follow them, maybe this isn't the right place for you." Her words cut deep. I had never felt so powerless. Emily tried to comfort me, but I could see the worry in her eyes. How could we raise our kids here with this constant harassment? I tried appealing, meeting after meeting, but every time I walked into that sterile HOA office, it was like standing before a jury that had already decided my fate. They laughed when I pleaded. They rolled their eyes when I spoke about fairness. To them, I was just another homeowner too stubborn to obey. Weeks turned into months, and the pressure mounted. Emily cried herself to sleep some nights. Our children asked why Mommy and Daddy were fighting so much. And me? I felt like a man about to lose everything. But then, late one night, while searching through old boxes of my father's documents, I found something that made my heart stop. A thick folder, sealed and forgotten. Inside were deeds, contracts, and maps, legal documents that showed something shocking. Not only did I own my lot, I owned the land beneath the entire neighborhood. At first, I thought I was mistaken. I stayed up all night reading those papers, my hands shaking with every page I turned. But the more I studied them, the clearer it became. My father hadn't just left me a plot of land, he had left me ownership of the entire development, the very ground the HOA houses were built on. The next morning, I drove down to the county records office. My heart pounded as the clerk searched through dusty files. Then she looked up, her eyebrows raised. "Well, Mr. Dawson, this is highly unusual, but yes. According to the original land lease agreements, you are the sole proprietor of this subdivision. Technically, they're all living on your land." I nearly collapsed right there. For weeks, they had mocked me, threatened me, and demanded money from me, when all along, they were the ones who owed me. When I got home, Emily saw the fire in my eyes. "What happened?" she asked. I handed her the papers. She read them slowly, her lips parting in shock. Then, for the first time in months, she smiled. That evening, I called an emergency HOA meeting. Karen and the board members looked smug when I walked in. They expected me to grovel again, maybe beg for forgiveness. But I didn't. Instead, I set the documents on the table with a satisfying thud. "Before you fine me again," I said, locking eyes with Karen, "you might want to take a look at these." At first, they scoffed. But as their lawyer flipped through the pages, their faces paled. Karen's confident smirk vanished. This can't be real," she stammered. Oh, it's real, I replied. And as of today, I'm not the one who owes you. You all owe me. Every home here sits on my land. Which means if anyone should be enforcing rules, it's me. The room erupted. Some board members shouted. Others whispered in panic. Karen tried to regain control, but it was too late. The truth was out, and everyone knew it. Walking out of that meeting, I felt taller than I ever had. The same neighbors who once sneered at me now stared with wide eyes. For the first time, I wasn't the outsider, the victim. I was the man holding all the cards. But deep down, I knew this wasn't just about revenge. It was about justice, for my family, for my father's legacy, for everyone who had ever been bullied by people who thought they had power they didn't truly possess. And I wasn't finished yet. Because the HOA was about to learn the hardest lesson of all. You can't bury the truth when the ground beneath your feet belongs to the very men you tried to destroy.